All right, good evening, everybody. 5 News Chief Meteorologist Skot Covert here. We have our first severe thunderstorm warning of the evening. This does include a good chunk of Scott County, a very small sliver of Logan County, but it looks to me that when it comes to the 5 News viewing area, our concern is only going to be Waldron, points off towards the east. While the sliver of that warning polygon does technically include portions of extreme southern Logan County, the storm is actually well to the south of the county line. It's now really exited into portions of Yell County. This is the Doppler radar indicated potential for 60-mile-per-hour straight line winds, 1 inch in diameter hail. And I'll tell you that hail is probably going to be coming up. The potential for some large hailstones this afternoon into this evening is going to continue for the next couple of hours. Looks like they've just reissued that warning. Not sure entirely why. It's possible they did it to exclude portions of Logan County. I think that was an inadvertent initial warning polygon. Let's see what happens if one of those doesn't fall off. Nonetheless, a severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for Waldron. That's going to be there in Scott County, Waldron. We do have a severe thunderstorm capable of producing some large hail. It's going to be just off to your east, at least as of right now. But what's happening is the cap, that invisible thing we've been talking about that's been suppressing thunderstorm development today, it's broken. These storms have fired. They've gone from 0 to 60 very, very quickly, and that's what's happening out there right now. So while what's happening in Waldron at the moment technically is not severe, it is off to the east, and these are probably going to continue back building well off towards the west and south. So I do suspect additional storms to be developing in Scott County over the next several minutes. This warning specifically is set to expire at 8 p.m. That looks to be the difference with that additional warning. It's going to be expiring a little bit later than the initial one, which was set for 7:45. When you look back off towards western portions of Scott County, Waldron and beyond, none of this is severe. This is just a shower, but these things have been popping so quickly. In fact, when I loop this for the last, let's say 45 minutes, you're going to see what I'm talking about. That is what a cap breaking looks like. That is explosive severe thunderstorm development, and I would expect that to continue back off towards the west. That's why that warning does include portions of Waldron. While it's not technically severe at the moment, even with that latest scan that just come in, you're finding a lot more red with that specific cell. These somewhat individual supercells in nature are going to be possible hail producers. That's going to be the big concern over the next several minutes. Right now, we'll take a look into that hail track. You're going to notice just to the east of Waldron, so we're in Yell County, south of Waveland, not our viewing area, but that very well could be a $half to ping pong size hail where those darker blues are right there. I would expect this cell back towards the east of Waldron to probably grow into something very similar over the next several minutes. No reason to believe that it won't be just as strong as the one that's currently upstream from that specific warning. These are developing quickly, and they're going to become very strong very quickly. Oftentimes, these cells take some time to mature. That's not going to be the case out there this evening, and the reason why is there is abundant storm fuel in the atmosphere. We're talking a lot of storm fuel, and that's why these updrafts have gone really explosive. We're seeing these storms billow and billow and billow, and that's what's happening out there. I'll show you a live picture from Ozark looking off towards the south. Let me see here. Weather Service accidentally issued a new severe thunderstorm warning over the previous one. It's not meant to be a double warning, just an accident. They send their apologies. They're juggling a lot at the Weather Service there out of Little Rock responsible for this warning, so that's why there's 2 of them. It was an accident. One of them will probably fall off once they're able to cancel that here in the next couple of minutes. Let me do this while we're waiting on a new scan of data to come in. Let me pull up that camera. This is going to be our one that sits in Ozark, but I've got it pointed off towards the southeast, and it's giving us a really good view of that explosive severe thunderstorm development. That's a beautiful view, actually, looking off towards the south there. Unfortunately, if you're under one of these thunderstorms, not so beautiful. You notice we had nothing on radar through the 6 o'clock newscast, right? And we were watching every single scan come in by the second, knowing that it wouldn't take long to go from ain't nothing, zilch, nada, to an explosive thunderstorm that's producing probably at least quarter-size hail, if not larger in diameter. And this is what it looks like from the north side of the cell. These slowly but surely pushing off towards the east-southeast. If I were to spin this camera a little bit further towards the east, or excuse me, towards the due south, I should say, I think we would probably see something very similar. So let me do that for us here as we spin that just a little bit further towards the south. We'll look into this cell, which is going to be the one that's primarily closer to Waldron as we look back off towards the southwest there. That's what it looks like here. Notice something interesting about this one. It's not as tall as the one off towards the east that's really moving into Yell County. That's what I would expect at this moment. This one's a little bit weaker, but once it continues to billow, and once that updraft continues to fight through that cap, breaking it as it does, that is certainly going to become a tall thunderstorm, and that's when that hail potential is really going to materialize. If you're just now tuning in here, the current time here at the television station is 7:19. We are tracking a severe thunderstorm warning for Scott County. That's really the only county in our viewing area that's included in this warning. These cells, thankfully for a lot of folks, waited until they exited the viewing area just barely, and I'm talking barely. As you can see, it waited until it moved out of Logan County over into Yell before it became a severe thunderstorm. Lightning uptick here near Danville. Watch this. That's the same thing. That lightning is going to rapidly increase with this cell in Scott County as well. Give it time. It's going to develop rather quickly, and we know that just based off how much storm fuel is available in the atmosphere. Things in Waldron not technically included in the warning. Downtown Waldron is not anyways, but this little shower, that's all it is right now, is going to be billowing into a strong thunderstorm over the next several minutes. This one's one to watch though, right here along Arkansas Highway 250 east of Waldron. That's going to be producing minimally some very heavy rain, but there's probably going to be some hail mixing in with this, if not now, very soon. That's going to be right there on top of Highway 80, and there, of course, 250 almost runs parallel there for just a little bit before interchanging right here. That's where, if you live right now anywhere along either of those two highways, east of Waldron over towards the county line, Scott, Yell County, you've probably got some very large hail. Radar continues to indicate that updraft is quite impressive. Not only is hail going to be a concern for us, we'll have to watch for a little bit of damaging winds, and right now the potential for up to 60 is there, but I'm not seeing that as concerning as maybe just the hail concern, at least as of the moment. You look at the hail track, you'll notice as that storm exited Scott County over into Yell near Blue Ball, that produced some really large hail. When I pause that, I'm going to show this to you because I think this is going to be what our Scott County storms are capable of. It's indicating $half to down to quarter size hail within that. This is just to the near Blue Ball, really, right there along Highway 80. This is what that Scott County thunderstorm is likely going to be growing into over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Hopefully it can continue tracking east. While it's certainly going to continue strengthening as it continues east, my hope is we can get it out of Scott County quickly. Right now, that does not appear to be the case. As that storm now in Waldron continuing to show some signs of strengthening there as well. It's not severe, so it's primarily just to the east of Waldron that's included in this severe thunderstorm warning. We look back towards Blansett, a little shower developing there as well. I think it's safe to assume that little booger probably grows into a thunderstorm before long as well, just given the volatile environment that continues. Scott County technically included in a brand new tornado watch until 2 o'clock in the morning. The threat's not going to last that long. Once we can sweep this front out of the area, we'll be dropping counties as we can, as the front clears. And right now that front, it's actually kind of easy to see when you look at the satellite. The satellite is going to show that that front is right here where that cloud deck starts, where those thunderstorms are igniting, is the actual cold front. Now, it's not in a big hurry to exit the region, but slowly but surely it is pushing off towards the east. These storms will continue to follow that front. Given the northeast southwest orientation of that front, you can see that cloud deck extending back towards Blansett there near the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line. It'll probably take a little bit longer before we entirely clear Scott County. It's not going to take until 2 o'clock. It's probably not even going to take until 10 o'clock at the latest. I think the Weather Service will trim Scott County out of that. We just got to give it a little bit more time. When it comes to Logan County, the threat is pretty much over. I think it's just barely to your south. Johnson County, I would say the same there as well. That's why our tornado watch only includes Logan County at this point. Of course, it includes a good chunk of Arkansas elsewhere, extending into central and northeast Arkansas. But for our purposes here in the 5 News viewing area, Scott County and Polk County included in that tornado watch. Technically set to expire 2 o'clock. Again, don't think it's going to actually take that long. Let's go back into that cell on live Doppler radar. Tornado warning for northeast Arkansas. Not a concern for us, at least as of right now. I've not seen any rotation with this cell. It's a little bit early in its life cycle, but we'll watch it just to be on the safe side. Right now, this warning is continuing for the potential of 1 inch in diameter hail. That's about the size of quarters. I'm afraid that may be on the increase with time. Hopefully with time, though, before that happens, we can push that thing into Yell County. Sorry for the folks in Yell County, but we want it out of Scott County quickly as we can. Scott County's been hit by hard with hail already this spring alone. We don't need any more hail damage out there at all. I want to do this. I want to go back to our live camera. This is the one that we've got in Ozark that sits over the Arkansas River, and it is giving us a pretty good view this evening of what these cells look like from the north. As this cap continues to break, these thunderstorms are billowing. They're going to be growing with height. Looking back near, this is going to be closer into the Yell County area. It's amazing how far you can see with a little bit of elevation, huh? And these clouds are going to be taller and taller. And if you look over here, they're extending. I don't think I can push this camera up. No, I can't. You're extending well into the top of the screen there. That's going to be some pretty impressive cloud tops. The higher those clouds are, the larger the hail is going to be. And the reason why is you've got updrafts that are rising into the storm, and as that air rises, of course, it starts to condense. There's going to be producing some water droplets, right? Some rain. That updraft, the stronger it is, carries those raindrops higher and higher and higher up into the atmosphere, and at times they'll start to freeze, and that's where we start to see some hail. Those hailstones will fall, but that updraft pushes them back up into the atmosphere. And that cycle repeats and repeats and repeats until you've got large hailstones that eventually become too heavy and they fall out of this cloud as hail. So the key takeaway there is the taller we see these clouds billow, the larger our hail potential is going to be. That's what we're seeing live there from Ozark. No threat in Ozark. Franklin County is clear. Sebastian, pretty much a lot of the 5 News viewing area is clear with the exception of Scott County. That's where we're going to continue to see this severe weather potential likely over probably the next couple of hours at most. I don't know if it'll take that long to get this front to clear the area. Here it is. It's really easy to see. We talk about some explosive growth. If you missed this a second ago, I want to show you this again. This is going to be let's do a 45-minute loop. Just 45 minutes alone, and watch these cells go from nada to severe warn, producing large hail, damaging winds out of nowhere. That just speaks to how volatile the atmosphere has been. It has been locked and loaded, primed for thunderstorms to just break that cap. The cap held most of the day, and for a few minutes I thought maybe, just maybe, we would get lucky and that cap would hold until these storms push off out of our area. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen entirely. Almost happened. We avoided it in Johnson and Logan and everywhere else in the 5 News viewing area. It's going to be just here in Scott County as that band of thunderstorms continues to develop and strengthening. You notice that lightning. I told you it was going to increase, right? That seemingly has happened, and that's a sign that these thunderstorms not only are healthy, but they're starting to grow. So that lightning on the uptick here near Waldron is a sign that this thing is going to continue to pulse up. It's going to become stronger. Our hail potential is going to continue, if not increase. The damaging wind potential could be said of the same, likely going to continue to increase there as well. In Waldron specifically, which is not technically in the warning, maybe the east side of town is, kind of depending on where you live at. You've got some showers, but they're developing stronger and stronger. We've got back building back towards Black Fork. You can see that inevitably is going to fill in. Just give it the next 10 or 15 minutes, and you're going to have a contiguous line, just like we do from Danville all the way back towards Waldron. It becomes a bit more scattered and spotty, but as that front continues to break that cap, that is certainly going to be producing some heavy rain initially. As those thunderstorms develop, as that updraft continues, we'll probably see that hail potential materialize back off towards the southwest of Waldron there. So if you live south of Waldron in Scott County, you're probably going to have a strong thunderstorm move your direction. Right now, you're not under a warning. Right now, that warning extends for Highway 80 over into Yell County, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if this little booger right here doesn't continue to pulse up and develop some hail and some wind with it as well. Looks like for the most part, Waldron, I don't want to say this too soon, the worst of both of these cells may be just bypassing Waldron. You see how there's a little bit of a break there? It is going to fill in, but it probably doesn't fill in until it's actually to the south of Waldron, which unfortunately is bad news for the folks to the south. But if you're in Waldron, you might consider that some good news. All about perspective, right where you're at when it comes to these actual severe thunderstorms. We'll take a look at the hail track on this. Over time, you'll notice this hail track moving towards Danville. This moved out of Scott County. That is the one that prompted the initial severe thunderstorm warning. Up to $half size hail. That's 1.5 inches in diameter. That is some large hailstones. You talk about damage. You start to see damage at 1 inch in diameter. That's the size of quarters, right? So we're well above that at this point. May not be seeing that yet necessarily in Waldron, although if we're not now, it is only a matter of minutes, if not seconds, before that updraft starts to produce some larger hail there to the east of Waldron. That's going to be right there along Highway 80. Let's go in a little bit closer, and we'll put some a few more communities on there, some highways. You can see exactly where the strongest portion of the storm is. This is going to be right there along Highway 250 and 80, where they come together. The strongest part of the hail right there. That's tracking towards Blue Ball right there on the Scott-Yell County line. Back towards the west is going to be Waldron. I'll bump the radar there just a little bit just so you can get an idea of where Waldron is in comparison to everything here. Here's the Little Texas community right here, and this is going to be Blue Ball right here. So we're pretty much running right between Waldron and Blue Ball. Another shower extending back off towards the west that is likely to materialize into a strong thunderstorm in a matter of probably just minutes, if anything at all. Let's do this. Let's put a track on it. These storms have been moving at not quickly, not near as quickly as we would hope, 40 miles per hour. They're off towards the east at about 40 miles per hour. So with that information, let's track this. Let's do a squall line at 40. Off to the east. This will give us maybe a few. That puts it at Mount Vernon Church, 741. Young Gravely at 741. Looks like we have a new warning popping up. I'll show you that in a second. Mulberry Church at 743. Let's see what that new warning is. Looks like that one is going to be, maybe they just trimmed up one of the old ones. They accidentally issued 2 earlier, and so they apologized for that. It looks like they may have just trimmed one of them up. And that would be the good news for us there. This is going to be where we see the strongest portion of the storm in our viewing area, just off towards the south and east. Much stronger thunderstorms producing larger hailstones. Right now, our primary concern is going to be just to the east of Waldron, right there along 250 and 80. This little cell is going to grow into a severe thunderstorm. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take. It's been pulsing up rather quickly. It's just a heavy shower at the moment. I'm not even really seeing a lot of cloud to ground lightning with it, but that is likely going to be changing in the next several minutes. Just give it time. There's plenty of volatile storm fuel out there to support some of this. When I look at the winds, certainly could see some damaging gusty winds coming out of this, up to about 60 or so miles per hour. If there's good news for you, there's no actual rotation with any of that in Scott County right now. We'll keep looking at that just to make sure that doesn't change, but right now there's no actual rotation. I want to show you something that we've been talking a little bit about lately, and it's the storm fuel product. This is going to be how much energy is available in the atmosphere to support some of these thunderstorms. And you'll see where that front is. You can almost make out where the front is right there. Everything to the north of it, the storm fuel is low, right? We're in that low category, but there is a portion of Scott County that has some high storm fuel available to it, and that's why these are growing rapidly. The cap's breaking. The front is finally pushing those updrafts strong enough that the cap is breaking, and we're seeing these thunderstorm towers go up rather quickly. Once that happens, we start to see hailstones being produced. We start to see winds pick up, and that severe weather potential become, instead of just theoretical, it actually is materializing in real time, and that's seemingly what's happening just to the south of Logan County. Really dodged a big bullet in Logan County today. We dodged a bullet with the second round in Johnson County. I know you didn't dodge it this morning or early this afternoon. We had some large hail in Johnson County early this afternoon. Thankfully, we didn't have a 1-2 punch come with that. Unfortunately, now it's Scott County that's dealing with the brunt of this hailstorm. I'm acutely reminded that it was just a couple of months ago that we had a hailstorm move through Scott County, also parts of Logan there as well. And so you're just sick of dealing with hail, and I totally get it. Unfortunately, Mother Nature having a little bit different plan for us out there this evening. Let's hope maybe this stays smaller than the last time we dealt with it. Right now, our warning continues until 8 o'clock, so that's going to be for a little less than 30 minutes. I do suspect if this storm can speed up, and it's not doing it yet, we'll probably be looking at right around that 8 o'clock expiration time. We're still at radar indicated. We're still at 1 inch in diameter. I've not seen any reports from storm spotters of actual hailstones. If you are in Scott County, I would love to hear from you. Let me know what's happening out there. This is my number here at the television station. It comes directly to my cell phone, and so I'll be able to see your reports in real time. 479-785-5000. Here's what helps me out more than anything. I just need two things from you. I just need your name and your location more than anything else. If you want to remain anonymous, that's totally fine too. Just to note that in your text message. If you got reports, pictures, videos, anything you can help pass along, I will definitely use that here to inform others in the path of the storm, and we can also pass that information along to the Weather Service in Little Rock, who's responsible for issuing warnings and watches for the Scott County area. This continues right now, current time 7:34, strong thunderstorm, not really moving a lot, but it is organizing with time. In fact, if you remember a few minutes ago, I kind of told you that line was going to continue to fill in as it back builds off towards the southwest. That seemingly is happening in real time. You're seeing that happen. Strong storm south of Waldron, but the section of the storm south of Waldron not currently severe at the moment. I think it's about to grow into something severe. I suspect we'll probably have to have a new additional warning that will account for some of this activity that is subsevere at the moment, but is moving into an environment that is rapidly favorable for the development of some severe storms. Hail and wind are primary concern right now. If you're wondering about the tornado potential, it's there. It's not zero. In fact, Scott County is included in a tornado watch, but we're not seeing any rotation out there. That's the good news for us. I'll take a look at storm reports and see if we've seen anything. No chaser reports or spotter reports coming into us as of right now. You look at that hail track, continues to push into eastern Scott County. Also notice this, while it's a very small signal here near Blancett where that shower is, we're starting to see some signal that there could be a little bit of small hail mixing in there, which is exactly what you would expect as that line continues to back build, as those thunderstorms become even taller and taller. Those updrafts are stronger. So I'm not necessarily surprised that we're seeing that right now. I would expect that signal to continue to actually increase likely over the next several minutes. I want to go back this. I want to see what it looks like outside while we've still got the benefit of sunlight. Let's see here. I want to look in the Ozark camera. This is in Ozark looking off towards the south. Okay, nothing happening here at the Housing Authority in Waldron. Stacy, thank you for that report. Really looks like the cell is going to be just to your south in Waldron. I think Waldron, far too close for comfort, but Waldron probably dodges a little bit of a bullet here. Okay, this is what it looks like. We're looking at Ozark back into across Logan County over into Yell. What I'll do, if I can pick the right app, you bozo, let me pull over and, okay, here we go. First, let's go back off towards the east a little bit. This is going to be, look at that. That's a really great representation of that updraft, just billowing and billowing and billowing, and it's breaking that cap as it does. We go back here, looking a little bit further due south. So this is going to be into portions of, actually I pushed to the southwest. So this is going to be what we're looking at in Scott County right now. A little bit tougher to make out anything of substance there, but those thunderstorms are growing taller and taller. We did have a report here in Waldron right now at the hospital, Mercy Hospital. We had hail just before you came on the air. There wasn't a lot, but it lasted for about 5 minutes. Can't pull up, kind of cut off there. I'll have to pull up the text messages over here so I can read the whole thing. Getting some pictures in, that would be helpful too. Okay, let's see here. Pea-size hail. That was right before that warning was probably issued then. So pea-size isn't severe, technically speaking. Severe starts at quarter size and above. So that's the good news, that we avoided at least the severe hail in Waldron. That's not to say folks to the east of Waldron might not be dealing with a little bit heavier. Let's see, getting a few more of your text messages in. Let's read some of these. Okay, we're looking from the sail barn there in Waldron. Cloud tops are getting taller and taller, so that hail potential I do think is probably going to continue. Michael Lane sending me in a picture there. Thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate it. Let me know if you see anything else out there. Here's Highway 71 to the south of Waldron. It's a strong thunderstorm, but notice this is the warning polygon box right there. doesn't include most of Waldron. Most of Waldron's not technically in a severe storm. It's to the south that we've got a strong, but not yet. I'm going to emphasize yet severe storm. It likely won't impact Waldron. If you're in Waldron and you got a little PTSD, you're thinking, my gosh, Scott, another severe thunderstorm producing hail. I think Waldron's probably going to miss most of it. And I'm talking downtown Waldron, I should say. I know Waldron isn't just this one little spot. It probably extends. The city limits, of course, do. South side of town, the further south you get along 71, higher odds of running into a little bit of hail you're going to see. I think the east portions of town is where we're going to see the strongest of that activity. It's drifting off towards the east-southeast. So at one point we were looking at the hail right along Highway 80 outside of Waldron over towards Blue Ball. That has since been dropped towards the south, now south of mostly Highway 250, but we're getting a little bit closer to Highway 28, Parks. So if you live around the Parks community, heads up, you've got probably a pretty good thunderstorm moving your direction that very well could produce some hail. Bowles is quiet right now, but that's not to say that you're probably not going to see at least some heavy rain, maybe some small hail mixing in there at times as well. Okay, current time here, 7:38. Your warning continues until the 8 o'clock hour. Right now it remains radar indicated. In fact, I'll actually say this. There is some question as to whether the warning will expire at 7:45 or 8 o'clock. The Weather Service accidentally issued a second one. We'll see which one they go with, or if they allow that second one to expire. They've not actually indicated. They just kind of gave us an idea of what was going on with that second warning. I'm hopeful that the storm could just push out of the area. I don't think it's going to weaken is the thing. So if it's not going to weaken, it really just needs to push over into Yell County and leave the folks there in Scott County alone. That's what needs to happen soon. These storms are moving at about 40 or so miles per hour. This one is getting closer and closer to the southern boundary of really both of those warning boxes. You can see those lines there. This is our warning polygon. Of course, you're probably familiar exactly with what that is. It's within this zone where we're meeting the severe weather criteria. We remain radar indicated. We've received some reports of some pea-sized hail near the hospital in Waldron. Not severe there. Haven't received any reports to the east side of town just yet. I suspect we probably will. The question is going to be, how big is the hail? Was it the pea size, or did it actually grow and materialize to that 1 inch in diameter that currently would be the ceiling? That's what it's capable of if it's to meet its fullest potential. I think it's slowly trying to get there. Not seeing as much lightning as we were seeing a few seconds ago. Let me look at this a little bit differently to see if maybe the lightning shows up a little bit differently. Not really. Let me loop this again. I'll do this for the last hour. You see how those storms just rapidly develop. I mean, they go from nothing to severe thunderstorm in a matter of just a few minutes. That really speaks to the volatile nature of this specific cell and the setup. That front's coming through, the cap's breaking. It held on almost all day. We almost made it through this afternoon anyways. Of course, we had some early afternoon in Johnson County. Almost made it through, and unfortunately it broke. Weather Service continues this warning for Yell and Scott counties until 8 p.m. They're not changing the parameters. They're keeping it at 1 inch in diameter and 60-mile-per-hour straight line winds potentially coming out of this cell. You'll notice how the cell continues to back build. Got a thunderstorm that's strong near Blancett, heavy rain, probably a little bit of lightning I can see right there in that cell, and that's continuing to push back towards Rich Mountain. This line is going to continue to fill in, and it is going to cross into Polk County. While it's not severe at the moment, I think it's probably a safe bet that it probably will become severe, just given the way this is explosively developed over the last several minutes. Really unsurprising. We knew, and we've been talking to you about how much storm fuel there was, and you'll notice that explosive development extends now into north central Arkansas, I should say, and that's likely to continue. We'll probably see some additional warnings along this line with time as the environment is actually even more conducive for severe storms off towards the east into northeastern Arkansas. You can see it continues to back build there. In fact, we got a little bit of shower activity in LaFleur County right now. LaFleur is going to be fine. The front is for the most part cleared you, so we're not really looking at any concerns there. Let's see, getting a few videos and pictures sent in to me. So if I look at my watch every once in a while, that's what I'm seeing. Just make sure I'm not missing any reports that I need to relay on to you folks. Let's go back into our hail tracker. It's really indicating that right now, and over the last few minutes, I'm not sure I'm going to believe this. I'll put it up here anyways. Penny size, pea size, around penny. That would be great news. That'd be really great news if that was the case. We'll see. Let me do this. I know we've got some folks in Scott County watching right now. So let me put our number back here on the screen. Let me step out of the way of that. 479-785-5000. If you have hail reports, I'd love to know how big it is. Pictures are helpful. And your location is even more helpful to us, so we can pass that information along to the Weather Service. We'll go back to live radar in just a second. I'll let you take a look at that one more time. A lot of you folks are probably watching on your mobile device and you're trying to figure out how do you do both at the same time. 479-785-5000. That's the number here at the station. It comes straight to me, and we will pass those reports along to the proper authorities and folks who are issuing these warnings out there. It's really helpful for them to know what's actually happening in real time. Let's see here. All right. Interestingly, you look at that over the last couple of scans, it's still very strong thunderstorm, and it is back building, but it's slowly drifting off towards the south and east, and it almost to me looks like it's a little bit further south than east. So I'm curious to see what the new warning, should there be a need for a new warning. Initially, you can see that the general trajectory was off towards more of an easterly track. May have to see what this next one looks like here in southern Scott County. Let's see. Maybe they don't issue a new one. We'll see. Looking over here, we have direct communication, a direct line with them. That's what I'm looking at on my computer screen at the Weather Service. And I'm not seeing anything out there just yet with regards to what their thoughts are. They've got a few minutes to give it, not only to see what the storm is going to do, but of course make their own decision internally as to what a new warning could potentially look like. Our Scott County storm is the only one in the 5 News viewing area, and it's going to be the only one for the rest of the evening. We don't expect any additional severe storms to develop. And the reason why, our cold front is oriented right in this general vicinity. And the cold front is the spark. It's the culprit. It's what's lighting the match. And behind it, the air is much more stable. And so we're not expecting any development towards the north of this. We've got this one cell here in Scott County, and I want to be here for everybody in Scott County to run this out until the threat's passed, and at which point we'll be quiet the rest of the evening. Now, there is, of course, severe weather chances this weekend. A couple of different chances this weekend, and then next week we'll have more on that on 5+, and of course your 5 News on 10. But right now our focus will remain on this guy right here. When it comes to watches, we have in our area, Scott and Polk County, technically this watch is set to expire at 2 o'clock in the morning. I promise you it's not going to run that long. The Weather Service will continuously assess the environment. They're going to be looking where has that front made it, and anywhere north of that front, they'll cancel it when there's enough confidence, and it won't take much that the threat is entirely passed. And right now, with that front pretty much being draped right into this general vicinity, I wouldn't expect that to take too much longer. Let's get this line of storms to the south of Scott County, and at that point, we're probably going to be in fine shape. We'll go back to live radar, see what's changed for us. It's a pretty narrow band of thunderstorms that have really blown up over the last few minutes. And at this point, they're making some southerly and easterly progress, but it's not fast at all. The track on these were about 40 or so miles per hour. I think, to me, it would appear that maybe they're going a little bit slower. Okay, did some calculations here. Yeah, we're looking at about 35 miles per hour now. So we are in fact slowing down. And what that could be telling us is, while we did break the cap, maybe the cap's still intact across portions of the area. Maybe there's still enough of it there that it's suppressing forward movement, and it's maybe potentially suppressing some of the actual development of it. That's a hypothesis, if you will. I still think there's an immediate severe weather potential. Obviously, the warning runs through 8 o'clock, about 13 more minutes with this one. We'll see if there's a need for a new one. Probably would include the Parks community in points off towards the south and east there. If that is to actually be issued. Right now, hail up to 1 inch in diameter is the primary concern. We'll take a look into our rotation tracker, and there is nothing rotating there, and that's the good news for us. When it comes to winds, you can take a look at some of these wind speeds, and they're not honestly overall too concerning. The storm potential is up to 60 or so miles per hour, and that's the messaging we'll stick with, but I'm not seeing anything in excess of that, that's for sure. I'm going to walk off air. I'll leave you up right here. I just want to look at one of my other products over here that we can sometimes use to see potential for hail and kind of how the storm's overall behaving. What I'll do while I'm looking that up, it'll only take me a couple of seconds. I'll loop this for the last 15 minutes just so you have an idea of how it's generally tracking there. Okay, over here, maximum estimated hail size. So getting close to Y City, we could be seeing 3/4 of an inch in diameter hail, which is still below severe limit. That's just going to be just the west of Bowles by, let's say, that's going to be about 4 to 5 miles west of Bowles, west of Y City. That may be trying to pulse up. It looks like the Weather Service is telling me they're going to be trimming the Yell, Logan, Scott warning up here shortly. That severe part of the storm has really centered over Yell County, and that is where the 1-inch potential for large hailstones up to 1 inch in diameter continues. So what you'll see on the map here in the next couple of minutes is that warning polygon, that orange box. It's going to get a little bit smaller. It's going to be pushing off towards the east, which is probably a good sign for us. What they're telling us is the threat has almost entirely pushed over into Yell County for the 1 inch in diameter hail. Not to say there's not potentially some smaller hail, less than 1 inch in diameter, happening right here. I think that probably is the case. It's mixing in with some really large, heavy raindrops, more than likely, and it's probably got some gusty winds with it as well. This cell does continue to push back off towards Rich Mountain. That's not severe at the moment, and let's hope that remains the case. It will be tracking into Yell County for sure, and Polk County as well. And then we have some viewers in Polk County and Mena, Rich Mountain. It's not severe, but I think it's going to try to become severe, and you can kind of see that happening here in real time. You're seeing more reds, the lightning, you got a couple of those strikes starting to come up. That's one of those ways you can tell this cell is trying to tap into that unstable environment that's out there. And that is going to be the trend until this front entirely clears the area. The good news is the front is on the backside of these storms. So it's not going to take a whole lot longer for that to happen. Okay, there's the new warning. Severe weather threat for Scott County is now, at least for the time being, diminished. You'll notice these storms are still strong though, so here's what I want to do. I don't think I want to end this stream just yet, because I've played this game one too many times where just because the severe weather threat ends for a minute or two and I'd end the stream and then it pulses back up and we just have to fire up a new one. I don't necessarily want to do that just yet. So what I'd like to do is give this about 5 to 6 more minutes. I may mute my mic, go get a drink of water real quick, and assess some things there. We'll keep the stream live and keep it running. In fact, I'll leave you zoomed in right here where that cell potentially could re-intensify. I think that is what's happening. You can kind of see it coming together. It's clearly intensifying. Lightning's coming up. The question is, can it intensify, one, to severe weather limits, in which would prompt a new warning? And can it do so before it exits Scott County? There ain't a lot of territory left, in which case our job would be done for the evening there once that happens. So that's certainly something to consider. Right now, let me do this. Let me just take a couple of more looks at velocity, hill track. Yeah, it probably is below 1 inch in diameter at this point. So we're okay right now. That's some good news. Those storms right now behaving. Certainly could be producing some small hail, maybe even some gusty winds, but behaving nonetheless. Let's hope that continues to be the case. I'm going to mute my mic. I'm going to get a drink of water. I'll let you look at live radar right there. In fact, I'll loop it for you, and I'll probably be back here and give me about 60 seconds, and I'll be right back with you. All right, if you're still here on the stream with us, we are tracking a non-severe thunderstorm right now in Scott County. It's pushing well south of Waldron at this point. The rain and the thunderstorms extend from, let's say, Rich Mountain there in Polk County through Y City, Bowles, Parks, Cedar Creek, running up right there, right along Highway 28 through Harvey over into Yell County. Again, it was severe. It was producing some hail. And now it's not. That's the good news. It may be producing some small hail, but it is not, at least anymore. That's the good news for us. Let's hope it continues to behave and act correctly. There's a lot of storm fuel out there, which does make me a little bit nervous. In fact, that's why I chose to keep the stream up, just to be on the safe side. If you're watching us, good Friday evening to you. We do have this line of showers and some storms that are moving through the area that extends well into north central, northeast Arkansas. In fact, at one point earlier, there was a tornado warning north of Jonesboro. That doesn't appear to be the case anymore. I show that to you just from the statewide perspective to show that most of the 5 News viewing area is in great shape. We're going to be just fine the rest of this evening. In fact, as this cell gets a little bit closer to southern portions of the Scott County line, it's not intensifying to the extent in which I'm concerned with it. It's well below severe weather thresholds right now, and that to me is giving me a little bit of comfort knowing that, yeah, we probably have a strong thunderstorm, some heavy rain, a little bit of lightning, but that's likely it at this point. So with that said, I think what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and end the stream. It's not that we don't care about you there in Scott County, but this is a good old-fashioned thunderstorm. That's it. That's all it is out there right now. And I think that's probably what it's going to stay. If that changes, we'll be right back here with you and for you. I just think we're running out of time, especially as the sun begins to set. And I don't think we're going to have much of a concern with regards to the rest of this evening. In fact, this is it. This is the last line segment that we would see anything materialize out of, and it's almost entirely out of the 5 News viewing area, which is some great news for the rest of this evening. Here's the thing. We do have a severe weather potential tomorrow, late afternoon into the evening. And then another round potentially on Sunday, and then another round potentially on Monday. It's the season, right? It's mid to late May. It's what you would expect for this time of the year. So we'll be here for you every step of the way. You can find us, of course, right here on your free 5 News mobile app, Facebook, YouTube, 5+. That's the best place to get most up-to-date, frequent updates from all of us here at 5 News. And, of course, over the airwaves. We'll see you right back here on your 5 News at 10, which is coming up here in just about 2 hours.